What do you think really contributed to your success to exit twice? I mean, you built up so much experience. Would you say learning how to have the right people to manage the business that you're growing, was that a big component, or was it really just fine
I
tuning
did,
your own?
and you're nailing it. That's exactly what it is in business. I didn't learn that in round one. Round
Mm,
one, I learned probably more flow conversion for the business.
mm,
Leadership is really a retention game. Scalable retention is when you bring in amazing managers and leaders. At that time, I was like, how do I get more clients? How do I get more money? And then when I get them, how do I convert them? And so I was really, I really would say in that first agency, I was learning how to bring in the business, but I wasn't keeping business as long as I should have because I didn't understand scalable leadership and replacing myself and all of those things. I didn't understand processes. I didn't understand, writing SOPs and making sure that everyone had accountability. It was, it's still today. There's a lot of big businesses that have the same challenges, which are no one's born into leadership. No college really, I mean, yes, Harvard Business teaches management, but they don't teach leadership, right? Like one of my greatest mentors is John Maxwell. I've spoke on stage with John last summer, and I love his philosophy of leadership. I would adapt a lot of what I do now to him. And honestly, I haven't really, I'm always trying to be a better leader. I wouldn't say I'm a great leader now. But I have the self-awareness that to your point, that is what you eventually need to learn if you really want to build something big, is scalable leadership and understanding how to put the right people in place underneath you. But no, in that first agency, I did not do that.
I think that's so important. I mean, I have a business as well, and just learning and going through, I've never sold a company, but I've never lost a company. And going through that learning curve and understanding that getting someone and not trying to maybe mold somebody into a role that you think you need to get covered for your business is such a big difference.
Well, the problem is most business owners hire someone to solve a problem.
mhm.
And it's a problem they haven't yet discovered how to solve.
Interesting.
And so then they hire someone younger and less experienced to solve that problem. And then they're pissed off when it doesn't work.
And it wastes so much time.
And it wasted time and money. And so the challenge really is, as leaders, a lot of times we think, I don't need to learn Facebook ads. I just hire the Facebook ads guy, right? And it's like, no, you should learn Facebook ads and then hire someone who is technically capable with proven experience to follow what you believe the business needs to do. So I think leaders too many times are like, I'm only good at one thing. I just sell the product. People love me. That's what I do. Everyone else does the other. No, when you start a business, you need to do and learn all of it. And then you hire people according to the plan that you've put in place because you know that it works and you've done the due diligence.
And you could sniff out, like even in a media or marketing agency, you could kind of sniff out who's really putting in work and really who's just collecting that monthly revenue and then moving on to the next client that they're trying to
the
land.
result. It's either the results are there or they're not. It's amazing to me how many clients stick with agencies that aren't getting them results. Now, to some degree, sometimes they hire agencies that are not result agencies. I call them vanity agencies. In fact, I did an Instagram on this yesterday. My Instagram's about Buck. If you ever want to see me go off on people,
and we'll share it. We'll share it here as well, of course, for the viewers.
Yeah, I went off yesterday because I watched this guy who came to me and he was like, I don't need strategy. I just need really good video reels. I got to look like a thought leader. I think I'm Grant Cardone. I look like Brad Lee. Like I want to be like those guys. And I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah. So those guys actually have strategy, and you should be focused on your brand, your target, build out the automations, put the product and service, get all the differentiators, and like, no, I just need good video. So he went out and he hired a really expensive video production agency who sells themselves as the social media agency, right? And he thinks, I'm going to get clients. It's going to drive new business. It's going to make me look important and famous. And sure enough, he's been with them 60 days. Content looks clean. It looks clean. 0 comments, 0 engagement, 0 shares, no new followers, no new connections, driving no new business. But you look good. You look great. So some people, and there's some people are happy with that. Yeah, some people, they're comfortable. They're average. They don't want to grow. And they just go, yeah, look at my Instagram. I look cool. They made this sizzle with, my Lamborghini. It's like, okay, if that's what you're going for.
I don't know. If it doesn't make money, most of the time it doesn't make sense in my opinion. So, or if you don't see the numbers like you said it,
That's exactly right.
Tell me, I've had an interesting entrepreneur once tell me he got a company, I think went through several rounds of investments, got up to like 25 million in investments, which is pretty big. And they were going to exit. He told me the first round that I got money, he's like, I learned a lot. Now I don't have control. They're making me work more than I want to. The next company I start, this is the way I'm going to do it. With you exiting once and then the second time, what is something you want to share to someone that may be exiting that they should be really aware of, or if they're getting funding, if your company also was funded?
Yeah, to be honest with you, money is made in the deals. Money is made in writing. Money is made in the contract, right? So when you're fresh into the space and you have a company, you think you want to sell. Millions of business owners are absolutely decimated by sharks every year because of clawbacks, because of ratchets, because of all different stipulations that these big legal companies and acquisition companies and merger companies, all of these little stipulations that they put in a contract, the guaranteed in any deal where you're getting acquired, they've got 90% of the leverage and you might have 10. And so I think that's the biggest thing is like, they're salespeople. They attract you because it sounds like an easy out. Anything that sounds good and easy usually isn't. There's usually some stipulation tied to it. So what I would say is focus on this. If you really want leverage, the two things you need to focus on as a business are, number one, data. What you really sell when you sell a company is information. Now, depending on what vertical you are, what kind of business or model you drive, the data may be different. But ultimately, when I do due diligence on a company, sometimes people come and they hire me to come in and look at a company or audit a company to go, hey, we're going to sell. What would you put my evaluation at based on where we're at? I'm looking at all the information from flow, conversion, retention. I'm looking at everything from how many users are in a database, how many of them are active, how many of them click, how many of them don't click, when's the last product cycle, how long's the cycle. I'm looking at all these numbers because what we're building is a picture of revenue and a picture of profit. How much revenue and then how much profit. So that's the first layer that you're looking at when you sell a company is data doesn't lie. Oh, I run a $100 million company and my revenue is 62 million and blah, 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 right? Okay, let's look at the data, right? Oh, wow, okay. You actually bring home $250,000 for yourself as a CEO. But it's just people throw the most ancillary BS out until you look at the inside of look at the numbers.
Especially with social media, they're always, I mean, even as an individual, they're always BS.
Yeah, so the thing is when you sell, get ready because they're putting the rubber glove on. And they're going right up your they're going to give you money. They're going deep, dude. You're going to open the pants.
Lube or no lube?
Yeah, no lube. So don't lie. So don't make it up. Don't be making stuff up because they're going in deep and they're hiring me to come in and look. And the last thing I need is for them to acquire you and realize that half of the leads you were getting were global because of a webhook that was dirty from a past SEO company. And now all of a sudden you don't actually have users. You've got foreign links that are bad. It's like, I'm going to make sure that they're not going, hey, Buck, you screwed us. We paid 10 million for this company and they got dirty data. So first layer is data. Second layer is this. If you go on sabbatical tomorrow, if Simon gets hit by a bus or he leaves for 6 months, does the first layer work without Simon in the second layer, which is process? So now we're looking at what is the process of your company? And if I remove you immediately, does the company vehicle still roll and make the same revenue? And if you don't have SOPs, if you're not looking at operating procedures and you don't have processes documented, if you're not in a rock system of some sort, if you don't have all of your business accounted for, then the revenue is the question is what's the liability on the revenue?
It doesn't value the company the same, even though the revenue I would say is high.
And just because and so we look at history and trajectory. Like, how long have you been doing this? And like, if the trajectory keeps going up, and then did you put those, sorry, I'm running ads behind you.
It's okay. No,
This
that's
segment
that's
of the
fine.
Ideal
Hey,
Hours brought to you by
you're making money
Lowe's.
nonstop. You're making money nonstop. I like that.
Nonstop, man. This segment of the Ideal Hours brought to you by Lowe's. See, that's my old radio voice.
Hey,
I
it's
used to do
good.
that.
You don't even need a mixer. This is incredible.
I know. I'll be your. Hey, listen. I'll work for cheap on the voice work. If you want me to do voice work for you, I'll do it. But here, let me get this thing off. So, yeah, processes are going to be the key. The history of the company, and so those are like the trifectas. Like, how long have you been doing it, and how long has it proven? If you made 62 million, but it was only in the last year.
Yeah,
It's like,
this year you're
ooh.
down like
Yeah, you
X,
never know. Is your company, is it cyclical? Is it dependent on the economy? Like, we saw medical during COVID was so future proof. It spiked so well, but real estate took a hit. So you have to put all those things into account, and that's probably the best tip I could give someone. If those things that I just mentioned are in line, you have more leverage in the negotiation. They want you more because they're like, wow, this is really premium.
I like that. I think it's a very important point you made. I met another entrepreneur one time. He was part of one of these entrepreneur groups, and he's like, hey, right now I scaled. I want to personally exit. So he's training someone for 6 months to a year to just replace him, to make sure what you've said also runs.